This guy lost $32 billion. The company that went from 32 billion literally down to like nothing in a couple of days, right? His net worth went from 30 billion to like zero overnight, right? Like he lost his fortune. He ends up in jail. Why am I telling you this? Get so angry, get so mad. What's happening? You just took my parking spot, right? I was cranky. I was fuming. In fact, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I started to wind the window down. But in that moment, I caught myself. You're keeping your thoughts positive and focused. Positive and focused. And your goal is to go 30 days and keep your mind focused where you want it to go. Not where that little voice is taking it, right? It likes to take it on all kinds of journeys. No, you're going to keep it focused where you want it to stay focused on. This is your mental diet. Now listen to me. Last week, we did a little segment in our Money Mondays, basically what's happening in the economy. And we looked at a couple of things, and I got a few phone calls that, Jermaine, that was pretty insightful. We liked the updates that you were giving in the economy. So I thought I would do another one this week, all right? So what's happening in the economy? You know, people ask me all the time, they say, Jermaine, what is your opinion on cryptocurrency as an investment? And I always respond, right, in the same way every single time. If you invest in something like cryptocurrency, invest money that you can afford to lose, all right? That money, if you lose it, you should be okay with it. There should be no hard feelings if you lose the money because of the risk, right? Because of the risk that's involved with investing in cryptocurrency. So if you follow the news at all, the financial news I'm talking about, you'll see that FTX filed for bankruptcy. Now, for those of you that don't follow FTX, it's a cryptocurrency trading exchange, right? So this company was started in 2019, fairly new company, right? We're in 2022. Okay, one of the fastest growing cryptocurrencies. It ended up having over 1 million users, and it was the third largest cryptocurrency exchange by volume. And on November 11th, so last month, they filed for bankruptcy. Now, what's interesting about this story is on December 12th, the founder, which is Sam Bankman-Fried, okay, he was actually arrested for allegations on fraud and all kinds of stuff, right? They went after him. So he's in jail right now. They literally just arrested him on December 12th for what's going on and his involvement with the collapse of the company. Because when they started investigating, they said something doesn't add up here, right? This guy lost $32 billion. The company that went from 32 billion literally down to like nothing in a couple of days. Right, his net worth went from 30 billion to like zero overnight, right? Like he lost his fortune. He ends up in jail. Why am I telling you this? Because the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, an article came out that they're writing off $95 million loss. So, okay, let's back up. The Ontario Pension Plan, who is that? They're an organization that they invest and they take care of the pension for the province for all of Ontario's teachers, right? The active teachers, the retired teachers. So there's over 300,000 teachers that are a part of this plan. The pension plan of December 2021 was over $246 billion. That's what they had in assets and what they were working with. So it turns out that the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, they had approximately $95 million tied into this cryptocurrency investment with FTX. right? So they put $95 million to go to work, but what happened? They probably won't see a single dime of that money. I want to know what your thoughts are. You can put it in the chat. What are your thoughts? You see there, it says this is the second time, okay? This is the second time that a major Canadian pension manager was forced to write off a crypto investment. So here's my question, how I'm posing it to you. What are your thoughts? Considering that this is the second time that a major pension fund was forced to write off a crypto investment, do you think that the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan should have gambled with the teachers $95 million? Do you think that was a good idea? Yes or no? You can put it in the chat. What do you think? Was that a good idea? Should they have dumped $95 million? Okay, we got some no's coming through. No, right? No. Here's why I'm telling you this. There is a lot of high risk investments out there. There's a lot of get rich quick. There's a lot of people thinking if they don't invest in the crypto market now, they're going to miss the boat. By the way, this is not investment advice, but now that crypto is down, probably should have been the time that they invested in it when it's down. Right now, they took a $95 million haircut with the retirement money of all of the Ontario teachers' pension, right? Which makes 0 sense to me. Absolutely 0 sense. Makes sense? Make no sense to me. But I'm happy to see that you guys think the same as me. And, but there's a lot of investments out there that people should stay away from. They're trying to get the quick buck. They're trying to get the fast money. And there's no such thing as get rich quick, right? No such thing. Make sense? So I just wanted to point that out to you. Zachary said, yeah, they were too aggressive. Absolutely too aggressive. But you may have people that tell you, hey, this is where it's at. This is the new shiny thing, the new shiny investment, cryptocurrency, dump your money into it. The sad reality is there's people that mortgage their house to do this, right? I know people that mortgage their house to dump into cryptocurrency, all right? Now, I'm not saying it's a bad investment, but I go back to my original statement. Only invest money that you can afford to lose. I don't know. Can the teachers' pension plan afford to lose $95 million? I don't know. Maybe they can, right? Maybe that's their argument. We could afford to lose that. Beats me. Let's jump into our topic today. I want to tell you a quick story. Quick story before Zoom, all right? Before you and I would connect like this on Zoom, we actually used to have our meetings in Richmond Hill. So we would basically invite you to come in and, you would sit face to face and we would physically have a meeting in Richmond Hill. And I remember, so that office, by the way, is Highway 7 and Leslie. If you know the area, if you've been there before, you know what I'm talking about. So years, way before there was any type of Zoom or anything like this, we used to also have the expansion meetings there where guests would also come. So while we're training in one room, there's the guests in another room, right? And I remember, I was driving in. So it was a particular Wednesday evening. I drove about an hour and a half of traffic because at that time I was coming from Brampton to Richmond Hill, about an hour and a half of traffic. I make the left turn in, okay? And I see that there was one parking spot available in the front. It was like the parking spot was calling me, park here, Jermaine, park here, right? It's in the evening. There's a bit of a fight to get a good parking spot because there's people leaving, there's people coming, and it was kind of busy at that time. But here's this parking spot waiting for me. So I put on my indicator and I go to turn in and make the left. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, this middle-aged man driving a blue Honda Civic coming from the opposite direction, he turns in, right? Making the right, he turns in, he nearly hits me and he takes the spot. Now, in that moment, I was fuming. Okay? I was fuming. My natural reaction was to basically wind down the window, all right, and get so angry, get so mad. What's happening? You just took my parking spot, right? I was cranky. I was fuming. In fact, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I started to wind the window down. But in that moment, I caught myself and I started to wind the window back up. Okay. And I drove around the back and I found another parking spot. And in that moment, I said, Jermaine, you're not going to let your ego control you today. And I walked into the office, took off my jacket, hung up everything. And I kid you not, one of our team members came up to me. They were so excited. And she said, Jermaine, I want to introduce you to a guest of mine. And I kid you not, it was the gentleman that was driving the blue Honda. Now you can imagine how my face was. And the gentleman, what was pretty interesting about this story, the gentleman actually started doing business with us. Okay. He started doing business with us. And through him, we actually helped tons and tons of families to secure their financial future. And that day, I started to pay closer attention to my ego. You know, Eckhart Tolle, he has a great quote. He says, there's nothing that strengthens the ego more than being right. That's what the ego wants, to be right, right? That's the whole sole purpose of the ego, to be right. The ego is this habitual and compulsive thought process that's going on in your mind, all of our minds, because we all have an ego, right? And it's continuously going through our mind. All right, it's continuously going through our mind. Now, on my screen, you're going to see a little diagram here. It shows this conscious mind and it shows the subconscious mind. The conscious mind, this is the mind that involves all of the things that you're currently aware of, all of the things that you're thinking about. For example, you're thinking about, you know, you wind the window down, the wind is coming on your face when you're driving, for example. You can pay attention to that. You can pay attention to your breathing. Right now, you can pay attention to your breathing, right? You feel yourself breathing. This is your conscious mind, the awareness of it all. The subconscious mind is the part of your mind that makes decisions without you even knowing, without you being involved in those decisions even, right? It just makes decisions on your behalf without you having to think about it, right? So it's your subconscious, below the awareness. Subconscious examples are your memories, for example. It's your beliefs. It's your fear, right? You're afraid of a spider, for example. That fear, it's not something that you're aware of. You see the spider, you react, right? That's outside of your consciousness. And then there's this little thing in between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind, which some people call the critical thinker. Some people call it like the security guard. Some people call it the ego. Today, we're going to refer to it as the ego. You see that what that ego is doing is it's questioning every single thing. It's that voice that you're constantly hearing in your mind, right? It's that inner voice that's questioning everything. Right now, it's questioning, hey, what time is Jermaine going to be finished? I have to go put the laundry in, right? I got to go get dinner on, right? It might be questioning that. Another person's ego is like, man, this is good stuff. I got to take lots of notes. This is powerful, right? So the ego is in the mind. It's that voice in our mind. And it questions every single thing that comes through the conscious. It's very important that you understand how this relationship works, right? You know, on a different topic, my daughter, Olivia, she's 5 years old, right? And every time that she sees me eating something that's not healthy, she points it out. She makes it a point to point it out. So I'm drinking and I like soda, okay? Don't judge me. I like pop. And she comes, she says, "Daddy, what is that in the cup?" I try to hide it, right? So she doesn't see what's in it. She says, "Is that soda?" I'm like, "Yes, it's soda." I say it very ashamed, right? And she's like, "Daddy, you know soda is not healthy." And I said, "Yes, I know." "Why are you drinking it, Daddy?" And I have no answer, right? So imagine me having to hide from my 5-year-old daughter to go drink soda, okay? You probably heard of a physical diet for your health, right? You go on a diet, the doctor says, "Hey, you need to cut the cholesterol. You got to go on a diet," right? If your diet's not good, you got to change it so you can get your body back healthy. My question for you is, you've heard of a physical health diet, but have you heard of a mental diet? Have you ever heard of a mental diet? I'm going to give you something to prepare for your 2023. All right? This is in preparation so that next 2023 can be the best year that you ever had in your entire life. Next year can be your best year. How are you going to do that? You're going to go on a mental diet. Okay? Your mind is like a garden. What do I mean? You reap what you sow. So if I plant corn, what's going to come up in the garden? Corn. If I plant apples, I'm going to get apples. If I put peach, I'm going to get peach. Whatever I plant, if I plant tomato seeds, I'm going to get tomato. Your mind works the same way. Your mind is a result of whatever you feed it. If you feed it positive and worthwhile information, that's what you're going to reap in life. You're going to reap worthwhile and positive, have a positive life. Okay? If you feed it negativity or confusion, that's what you're going to reap in life. Negativity, confusion. And if you feed it nothing, that's what you're going to reap. Nothing. So let me put it this way. A mental diet basically is you monitoring your thoughts and you feeding yourself positive content. Let me repeat it again. A mental diet is you monitoring your thoughts. So monitoring that little voice in your mind, right? Monitoring it, monitoring the thoughts, and feeding your mind positive content. So positive content, I'm talking about your thoughts, your ideas, everything that empowers you, that helps you move towards the goals, your overall goals that you have in life, your purpose, why you were put here on this earth, things that are good for you. Now, one of the things that you got to do during this mental diet is not allow any limiting beliefs. No limiting beliefs are allowed and no doubts are allowed. All right? Now let's do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a 30-day period on your calendar. You need 30 days, 30 full days. You mark this 30-day period on your calendar with the intention of going 30 consecutive days. How many? 30 consecutive days. Each day, you're keeping your thoughts positive and focused. Positive and focused. And your goal is to go 30 days and keep your mind focused where you want it to go. Not where that little voice is taking it, right? It likes to take it on all kinds of journeys. No, you're going to keep it focused where you want it to stay focused on. This is your mental diet. Now listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. You're going to have some negative thoughts. You're going to have some fear. But you have to catch them. And you got to change them into positive. You say, Jermaine, how do you do that? I get negative thoughts all the time, and I don't know how to change it. I want you to think of your thoughts like the channels on a TV. You know, when they used to have the TV with the remote, you sit and you can change the cable TV, change all the different channels. I want you to think of your thoughts like the channels on a TV, right? So your thoughts are the channel in your mind's TV. So if a negative thought comes in and it sneaks in, just change the channel. Just change the channel. All right. And every day, what you got to do is you mark a big check mark on the day on your calendar that you were successful that you completed that day successfully by keeping control of your thoughts. So every day that you did a successful, complete day, what you're going to do? Put a big check mark on that day. All right. Now, remember, if you completed, let's say, 28 days of controlling and focusing your thoughts, and then out of the blue, you have a temper fit, right? You got angry. You got mad. You had a little episode like what I had in the parking lot where our guest was accidentally took the parking spot, right? And hit me nearly hit me in the meantime. You have a temper fit. You get angry, right? You get so mad, you lose it. You lose your temper. And you weren't able to get off of it. Or let's say you have a road rage, or you explode at your loved one, or you explode at a friend. And you just have huge anxiety. Then guess what you got to do? You got to start all over from day one again. Why? Because you have to have 30 consecutive days of pure mental focus and positivity. All right. When you complete this 30-day mental diet, you have to have 30 days back to back with this new habit. What you're doing is you're creating a new habit. You're thinking about what you're thinking about. You're monitoring your thoughts. Okay. Many of you have never heard it in this way before, but I'm giving it to you in a way that will make sense to you. Experts, they say it takes 21 days to create a new habit. Okay. 21 days to create a new habit. Now, let me just be honest with you. Can I be honest with you? Can I be honest with you? Yes? Okay, let me be honest with you. This is going to be the hardest thing that you will ever do. Let me repeat that again. This is going to be the hardest thing that you have ever done in your entire life. Changing your mind and your thoughts, your attitudes, your beliefs is very difficult. Very, very difficult. It's easy to talk about it, easy to say it, but it is so difficult. Why? Why is that the case, Jermaine? Well, you have held on to your attitudes, let's say, for many, many years. How old are you? You have held on to your attitudes for that length of time. You say, Jermaine, I'm 42. You've held on to your attitudes for 42 years. And so you have a habitual way of thinking. And changing that habitual way of thinking is going to take time, and it's not easy. It's going to take time, and it's not easy. But you need to continue to try this mental diet until you've completed 30 consecutive days. All right? Let me ask you a question. How many of you are willing to go on a 30-day mental diet and just like tear it up? How many of you are willing to do that? Because this is going to change your direction going into 2023, right? You want to have the most powerful year, 2023. Listen, don't judge the future based on your past. Don't judge what you did, what you want to do next year based on what you did last year or this year. You're a new person. You're a brand new you. At any moment, you can make a decision. At any moment, you can go on the mental diet. At any moment, you can change your way of thinking and become the person you're supposed to be. So I challenge you to go on this mental diet. And if you fall off, hey, jump back on again. If you need an accountability partner, feel free to be accountable with me or somebody. Get on an accountability schedule with somebody and be accountable to being positive and focus for 30 straight days and see what it does to you. See what it does to your life. Watch your life change. Watch abundance start to happen for you. All of a sudden, prosperity starts to happen. You know, the bank account just has more money than it usually does. The credit card has less debt on it than it usually does. You become more organized. Things around you become more organized. And all of a sudden you're thinking, is this good luck? Am I just lucky? No, you changed your mental diet. Remember, it's like a garden. Whatever you sow, you put apple seeds, you're going to get apple seeds. But if you plant, I don't know, a poisonous berry, you're going to get a poisonous berry. My challenge to you is plant the right seeds, reap the right seeds.